Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 19th November 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. HARDAN, 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 Haribol, TRSV, nectar, NECTAR, nectar. In this particular blog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that I have gleaned or we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. So kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So before continuing, let me remind you once again that my name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been discussing about the importance of realizing the self within and thus looking at the super soul within to find out how important it is for each one of us human living entities, whether male or female, to understand and recognize the divinity which is present very much within as Kshiro the Kasai Vishnu or localized Paramatma as Super Soul. We must remember now that qualitatively at the beginning we must understand that the super soul and the soul are qualitatively similar to each other. That means that if you delve within yourself and meditate on spiritual matters and contemplate on material plus spiritual matters regularly, one day you will be able to recognize the similarity between the self and the super soul, that is, the spirit soul and the spirit super soul. We all know by now that the spirit soul is actually a spirit spark which has ejected out of the spirit whole, and that qualitatively this individual spirit spark is the superior energy of the spirit whole. We all belong to this spirit whole or a huge fireplace of spiritual fire. But because of reasons unknown to us, sometime in the past, we got ejected out of that spirit soul and instead became the qualitatively similar to the spirit soul, actually became minuscule spirit sparks. It was that spirit spark which turned into a spirit soul when it got in touch with the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead called the material world. We have discussed this theory time and again in various videos of ours in this vlog called HARDAN Haribol TSV Nectar. In the process of discussing, meditating, and contemplating on the self, we came to discuss various facts, and during that process, we also tried to authenticate this theory through various case histories which were directly or indirectly connected to this particular subject. Yesterday, we were discussing about the great Hindu epic Ramayana, which was the main topic of contemplation and meditation for me, who is more and more gravitating towards spiritualism. By now, we know why Manthara, the housemaid, Kaikeyi, the favorite queen of King Dasharatha, King Dasharatha himself, and Bharata, the younger brother of Lord Rama, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, reacted the way they did when Lord Rama was instructed by his own loving father, King Dasharatha, to leave for the jungle where he should reside for another 14 years. We all know the play of divine plan and destiny behind all this exercise where Lord Rama was asked to seek future life in the jungle for another 14 years. Now we will continue with that discussion to understand how destiny plays its own part in doing some things which make us believe that many a time facts are stranger than fiction. So let us continue with that discussion. When the public of Ayodhya came to realize that Lord Dasharatha had taken such a drastic step as to instruct his own eldest son, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, as Lord Sri Rama to go to the jungle for another 14 years. The complete kingdom fell under a pall of gloom, sorrow, tears, and pain. Further, they realized that the same Queen Kaikeyi, who was not only a favorite of King Dasharatha, she was also the most affectionate towards Lord Rama, had forced King Dasharatha to give such an instruction. They were further dipped into an ocean of sorrow. But when they realized that Queen Kaikeyi had taken such a decision at the conniving advice of her own favorite maidservant Manthara, the whole public plus the other three princes and younger brothers of Lord Rama flew into an uncontrollable rage. They tried to harangue and chastise Manthara for doing such a ruthless, sadistic, and cruel act. But even here, nobody could realize except Lord Rama that there was a divine plan behind all this. And how? Here we must stop thinking as Lord Rama, but we must start thinking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu resides in his own divine abode in the celestial plane. Here, long back, during the Satya Yuga period, or even before, Lord Vishnu's palace was being guarded by two brothers who were the main guards of the gateway towards the palace of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These two bodyguards or guards of the palace were called Jaya and Vijaya. Jaya was the elder and Vijaya was the younger of the two gods. They religiously and jealously guarded this gate towards the palace and abode of Lord Vishnu. One day, when they were doing like this, four very tiny, almost infantile, and certainly of the baby form, children toddled towards them. These huge, muscular guards looked at these four children askance. They thought that these children had forgotten their way towards their house and had just played and trotted towards this gateway and were now confronting them. The two muscular guards stooped low to look at the four Kumaras or children and asked them what they were doing here instead of playing in the playfield. The four children were actually creations of Lord Brahma and were given a boon to remain very great and qualified monks as four children. These four children were Sant Kumara, Shanta Kumara, Santa Kumara, and another Kumara. These were the four Kumara children who were actually very exalted souls, but were only given the size of tiny children all their life and were meditating on God for times immemorial in the same size. These four children were extremely knowledgeable, exalted, wise, and qualified little monks. They told the two gods, "We four want to meet Lord Vishnu." The two gods roared with laughter. Here were four very tiny, innocent looking children who were asking for something that even the sages of yore could not ask. Hence, these two gods, thinking that these four Kumaras were children, suitably reprimanded them gently. Children, you are too young to meet Lord Vishnu. He is a very great and the supreme personality of Godhead. It is not your work to meet such exalted souls. Hence, we too request you to have some refreshment here itself and then go back and play in the playfield with your own playthings and toys. The four Kumaras looked at each other. Then they nodded knowingly. Before the two gods could react, these four Kumaras told these two huge muscular gods, "We think that you are too innocent or ignorant to understand who we are. As a punishment for your ignorance, arrogance, deceit, and overconfidence, we, the four Kumaras, who are actually very exalted spiritual souls, ask you or curse you to go back to the earth and spend your own time there before coming back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu." The two gods were stunned and surprised. They never expected that they, the huge gods who were till now guarding the gates of the palace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will be cursed by four kids who were not above 8 years of age. The two became quite angry. Meanwhile, the four Kumaras left that palace to go and meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, in their own jungle hermitage. These two gods then went to the Supreme Personality of Godhead slightly alarmed, stunned, and angry. Lord Vishnu smiled at him. Being the supreme personality of Godhead, he knew what had transpired at the gates even before these two muscular guards confronted him and told him what had happened there. Lord Vishnu smiled at these two guards. Then he gently inquired, "What happened? Why are you here instead of guarding the gates?" The two muscular guards replied or retorted angrily. "Four very tiny children came here and said that they wanted to meet you. But when we tried to prevent them from coming inside the palace, these chit of kids cursed us that we must go and spend time on earth instead of remaining in this heavenly area and guarding the gates of your exalted palace." Lord Vishnu smiled benignly. "Those four are not 8-year-old kids. They are actually a creation of Lord Brahma and are considered to be very exalted souls for times immemorial. They had every right to come and meet me. But because you two were guarding the gates and were suitably ignorant of the identity of these four children, you did what you did dutifully. And those children did not curse you. This you will know only later. Actually, what they said was indirectly a boon on you too. It was a blessing in disguise of a curse. However, before continuing further, I'd like to understand what is in your individual minds. Jaya and Vijaya, the two bodyguards, sighed deeply. "Lord, we are here and we are happily guarding these gates of your exalted palace for times immemorial. However, we want to leave this job for good and come and get blended into yourself permanently. Before continuing, let me remind you that as those two guards, these muscular fellows were actually of the demonic variety of living entities in this universe. They were not exactly divine. They had become demons because of some past incident and because of their own exalted nature spiritually had become gods on the palace of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, after being there for times immemorial, these two demons, Jaya and Vijaya, were tired of their duty and now they wanted to blend into the Supreme Personality of Godhead who had originally created these two gods. Lord Vishnu smiled again. He could now understand what was in the mind of these two gods. He said benignly, "Now you see, if only those four innocent looking children had not cursed you the way they did, you would not have got this boon of an idea to come and blend with me permanently. Thus, you must understand again that what they said as a curse was actually a blessing in disguise for you two fellows. I agree that you have been guarding the gates of my palace for times immemorial, and it is high time you came and blended with me. However, I proceed further and give you a choice. Either you remain demons in three births, and in every birth get killed by me personally in a fight, and then after the completion of these three births, end your lives in this universe permanently and come and blend with me. Or you live in this very universe as demigods for 7 births, complete your births as demigods in 7 births, and then ultimately come and blend with me. Jaya and Vijaya, being demons in nature, had all the foolhardiness, haste, and impatience that goes with demons. They told Lord Vishnu, "We are now in a hurry. We cannot wait to have 7 births as demigods. We are demons and we are happy being demons. Hence, we would like to take 3 births as demons, get killed in your own hands after a fight with you, and after the completion of these 3 births, come and blend with you permanently." Lord Vishnu laughed again. "And why? We must not forget that whether we are incarnated as a living entity, a human living entity, an angel, a celestial being, a monk, a demigod, or a demon, we all have been created by Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of this, we must appreciate that the Lord will never condescend to kill us unless and until he has been put towards this too far. No living entity, let alone God, would like to destroy his or her own creation. These two demons, Jaya and Vijaya, were no exception to this fact. In fact, they were also as much a creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, as every one of us is. Hence, when Lord Vishnu said, "You take 3 births as demons and get killed by me in a fight," Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had a divine plan. It is not easy to be killed by the Creator Lord Vishnu in a fight with him for anyone, let alone a demon like Jaya or Vijaya. It takes a lot of qualification to reach that position. And how? We shall discuss about this in my next video. This is all I wanted to talk about in this particular video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this subject in this video. Please give me your expert views, thoughts, ideas, and opinions so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, I wish to remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.